Bitch, I wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and kiss myself. For a bitch made mad enough to blick her, I'ma blick myself.
This day, Montana and his TTG crew pulled up in 2 vans in the 900 block of West Fayette Street and spotted Lamont in a crowd of people. One shooter hopped out of each van and shot into the crowd trying to hit Lamont.
Damn,
Lamont was shot 17 times, but
see, you never know who you gonna get, who really like that in the streets. Niggas that like him, you wouldn't even expect him to be in the streets. But guess what? He got big ass Gen 5 on him. He'll knock you down too. Real deal. What's the word, gang? I'm back with another real deal video, and today I got a special real deal video for y'all, man. So look, we back with the reactions. I'm finna go back crazy again. I had to get some stuff together, but I'm back together. So today we reacting to Montana, the most feared man in Baltimore. So this the first time I didn't reacted to something that happened in Baltimore. So we got to check it out, see what it's got in store. So grab whatever you need to come on ahead and join this reaction party, because we finna get it cracking, real deal. But let's get into the real deal video. Let's go. It's not, just press the subscribe button. It don't take no time. It's free. It's free. It's not like no Patreon. It's free. Press it right now. It's right in the corner, right there on the
subscribe, like, leave a comment, do all that.
Of 21-year-old Montana Baronet. Brian Kubler is here now to explain why the commissioner says the city streets are safer for this.
Montana Malik Baronet. It was this 21-year-old police say shot and killed Alfonso Williams on this part of West Lafayette Street 2 years ago. But they say it would be just one life he snuffed out in a neighborhood he suffocated in fear.
Baronet is an absolute poster child for what a repeat offender is in Baltimore City. We are certain he has been involved in numerous acts of violence, to include multiple shootings and multiple murders.
the city of Baltimore has built a reputation for itself as one of the most dangerous places in America. Underneath the hard-hitting football and cold weather, Baltimore has a dark underbelly ruled by vicious drug organizations that terrorize the city and boost the crime rate. The subject of today's video was like Marlo Stanfield from The Wire in real life. He was the leader of one of the most violent drug operations in Baltimore and was killing people left and right with a smile on his face. He was rumored to have been involved in up to 19 murders and was convicted of 6 of them. In fact, the police named him the city's #1 trigger puller. The subject of today's video is none other than Montana Baronet, and today we're going to be telling his story. But before we get into the video, please be sure to like and subscribe. Montana Baronet, also known by the nickname Tana, was born in Baltimore, Maryland in 1995.
People like the nigga off of Princess and the Frog, the little magician nigga. I'm on the road. Do you know? Y'all know who I'm talking about. The nigga off Princess and the Frog, the magician. That's what he look like.
He grew up in an area of Baltimore called Sandtown, Winchester. Sandtown, Winchester is one of the roughest areas in the whole city. According to BaltimoreCity.gov, over 50% of families there are living below the poverty line, and over 86% of children there were born to single-parent households. Growing up, Montana pretty much had to fend for himself. His father was a Jamaican immigrant and got deported when Montana was just 4 years old. His mother was always out roaming the streets and was rumored to be a drug addict. Baltimore is a city full of drug dealers, and in an area like Sandtown, Winchester, those are the only people making real money. Naturally, a young boy without guidance like Montana would look up to them and aspire to be just like them. When he was around 7 to 8 years old, Montana and his brother named Terrell Sevels would get involved in the drug trade and start doing favors for drug dealers. Eventually, when they were young teenagers, a member of the Black Guerrilla family named Davon Robinson recruited them to run one of his drug operations in Sandtown. Over time, Montana and his brother would go on to start their own crew called TTG, standing for Train to Go. The TTG crew grew to over 300 members, and they were making over $50,000 a week selling drugs and doing murder for hire. Despite
Damn, 50 racks a week? Fuck. 50 racks a week, that sound pretty
the money he was making, Montana
Montana
wanted to be respected and feared by those around him. This would lead to him becoming more and more violent, and he would soon grow into a cold-blooded murderer. On May 3rd, 2014, Montana would kill for the first time. On this day, two sisters were hanging out outside of their home in Sandtown when Montana walked up to them and made crude comments about them. He basically told them that he wanted to smash both of them, and he told one of them that their thighs were exposed and that she needed to cover up. The women were offended, so they chirped back at him. Montana then responded, telling them that he does what he wants. The girl's brother, named Alfonso Williams, was nearby, and he joined in to defend them. He told Montana, "Yo, you don't talk to my sisters like that. That's not the way you talk to them. They're not hood rats."
Come on, sisters.
Montana responded and said, "My bad," and that he was just playing. Alfonso then attempted to make peace by shaking his hand and inviting him to come over later that night to watch a fight. Hours went by and it was now nighttime. Alfonso walked out of his house to wait for the pizza delivery to get there, while Montana pulled up carrying a gun and shot him 9 times. Alfonso was shot in the chest, arms, and neck and was transported to the hospital where he was tragically pronounced dead at just 23 years old. This would only be the beginning of Montana's killing spree. Montana was close friends with a rapper named YGG Tay. One of Tay's other friends, a man named Terrell Hellrell Jarrett, made the mistake of misplacing a substantial amount of the rapper's money. When Tay confronted him about it, Hellrell proceeded to slap him. Following this incident, Tay would put thousands on Hellrell's head, and Montana would allegedly collect it. On June 29, 2014, Hellrell was playing dice on a sidewalk in the 1300 block of Ward Street when a gunman strode up to him and opened fire, striking him in the chest and stomach. Hellrell was taken to the hospital, where he was tragically pronounced dead at just 21 years old. Montana is believed to have been the gunman in this incident and the one that got paid. Unfortunately, the killing wouldn't stop there. 4 months later, 2 other local gangbangers, James Blake and Ronald Langley, were killed. Their mistake had been trying to kidnap Milk, a real named Roger Taylor, who worked closely with a major drug importer named Shango Owens and was financing YGG Tay's career. The kidnappers grabbed the wrong person. They kidnapped a guy named Scratch, a real named Darius Singleton, who was Tay's friend and had borrowed Milk's car. After realizing they had the wrong guy, Blake and Langley stripped Scratch, took his money, and let him go. When word reached Milk and YGG Tay, a bounty was offered. Both Blake and Langley were shot dead. James Blake was just 24 years old, and Ronald Langley was just 22 years old. Montana and another TGG member named Binky, real named John Harrison, were named by witnesses and on social media as the likely triggermen. Langley was set on fire afterwards. His blackened remains were discovered in November behind a West Baltimore elementary school. The killing would continue.
These niggas in Baltimore trenchers, what's going on?
On January 4th, 2015, Montana and Binky were driving down the 1100 block of North Whittier Street when they spotted a BGF member named Beezy, renamed Brian Chase. Montana and Binky had been looking for Beezy because he told someone that there was money on Binky's head. This enraged members of TTG and made them want to kill him. When they spotted Beezy, Binky hopped out of the car and shot him multiple times. After being hit, Beezy started to crawl away towards a fenced yard when Montana and Binky pursued him and finished him off.
Damn.
Beezy was shot a total of 14 times. He would later be discovered by the police and
y'all gotta think about it, bro. Y'all don't ever want to get in the streets, cause imagine you loafing one day. You know what I'm saying? You don't never loaf, but it's just this one day out of the week, like random day. You don't never loaf. You never get caught lacking, but it's just one day. You just in the alley walking. You got fired with your peoples or something. And you did some goof, like it don't like you lacking this one day, and somebody come catch you, shoot you, you crawling away, and they come walk you down and finish you off. That's a bad way to live. That's the worst way to go out. I'm cool. I don't need to die that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what niggas want to be in the streets for. That shit don't make no sense. Niggas don't want to live long, I guess. I don't know. But shit, we got to get away from that shit. That shit bad.
Transported to the hospital, where he was tragically pronounced dead at just 32 years old. Montana and other members of TTG would follow this incident with a horrific, broad daylight triple homicide.
He hella ugly.
In June of 2015, an attempt on Montana's life was made. One day, he was riding a dirt bike in the streets when bullets flew by him. Fortunately for him, none of them struck him. Montana believed that a BGF member named Dirty, real name Lamont Randall, had sent the shooter to try to kill him. He would proceed to gather up a crew of TTG shooters to go and kill Lamont. On July 7, 2015, they found him. On this day, Montana and his TTG crew pulled up in 2 vans in the 900 block of West Fayette Street and spotted Lamont in a crowd of people. One shooter hopped out of each van and shot into the crowd, trying to hit Lamont. Lamont was shot 17 times, but
see, you never know who you gonna get who really like that in the streets. Niggas that like him, you wouldn't even expect him to be in the streets. But guess what? He got big ass Gen 5 on him. He'll knock you down too.
3 other innocent people were hit in the crossfire. A woman named Jacqueline Parker was shot 11 times, and a man named Gerald Thompson was shot 19 times. A 4th victim named Ashley Johnson was shot as well. Lamont, Jacqueline, and Gerald would all tragically be pronounced dead. Lamont was just 39 years old, Jacqueline was just 53 years old, and Gerald was just 34 years old. Ashley survived her injuries. Montana was believed to have been paid $10,000 for being one of the gunmen in this murder. Before finally getting caught, Montana would be linked to one more murder. Montana and TTG were even willing to kill members of their own crew if they felt they had been crossed. A TTG member named Thug, real name Antonio Addison, had been associated with a man named Andrew Johnson. TTG believed that Andrew was cooperating with law enforcement, so they wanted to kill Antonio just for associating with him. On May 25, 2016, Montana and TTG members found Antonio in front of his grandmother's house in the 1200 block of North Carey Street when they shot him multiple times. He was taken to a hospital where he was tragically pronounced dead at just 22 years old. Montana had been quoted by an informant as having laughed about the murder and saying that Antonio deserved it. Montana had consistently been named by witnesses as the gunman in murders, but the police could never get enough evidence to charge him. Eventually, this would change and Montana would finally be brought to justice. Montana was officially arrested.
How the hell you accidentally release somebody that's going down for murder? What's going on? Accidental release? Oh, okay. Interesting.
On August 19, 2016, while coming out of a movie theater. He was 21 years old at the time of his arrest. He was charged with the murder of Alfonso Williams, and the police were trying to find enough evidence to charge him with over a dozen more. In the official announcement of his arrest, the police called him the city's #1 trigger puller. In early 2017, Montana would be released from jail by accident due to a mistake by the employees. While he was in jail, the feds decided to pick up his case. Due to the feds picking up his case, his state charges were dropped. The employees working at the jail didn't realize the federal indictment was in place, so they just let him go, seeing that he no longer had state charges.
Damn.
Rather than flee the country, Montana went to a Gervonta Davis fight in Brooklyn and posted a picture of himself at it on Instagram. The police were able to track him down the next day and rearrest him. The employees at the jail were suspended afterwards. Montana was suspected of many murders, but the police were able to gather enough evidence to officially convict him of the murders of Brian Chase, Marquez Jones, Lamont Randall, Gerald Thompson, Jacqueline Parker, and Antonio Addison. Montana wasn't the gunman in the March 2015 murder of Marquez Jones like he was in all the others, but he was charged for being the getaway driver. Montana was ultimately sentenced to life in prison. Once again, this lifestyle just feels so pointless.
He overly over it. Like, he not gonna ever see light again. He's done. He ain't gonna get no good yard time. They not fucking with him, bro. Number one trigger puller, they labeled you, and you got all these charges. Yeah, you're not doing. It's not gonna be a good rest of your life. It's over with. And the people that let him go out of the jail the first time, all of they shit over with too. They got to get a job at a grocery store, and no law enforcement agency will ever pick them back up after getting suspended like that. And it's over with for their ass too. They ass tweaked out. That shit crazy. Oh, let's hear what the rest.
Create a drug empire and make all this money, but you kill so many people and destroy so many lives in the process that you can't live peacefully. All of the work that you put in is rewarded with a cold prison cell for the rest of time. Let me know.
And no bullshit, y'all. But that's it for this Real Deal video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell for post notifications so you know when I drop another Real Deal video. And I'm gonna catch y'all in next Real Deal video. Real Deal, gang.